my final question to you is, I mentioned that there are 15 women altogether who have alleged that Trump sexually harassed or assaulted them. Are you concerned that more
Are we talking
of
about
this,
2016? Hold on.
Are you concerned
I have not gotten a complaint from 15 women.
All told, that not that you've gotten complaints that have become public. Are you concerned that this
Since
case
20,
that
are
we've
you
seen
talking
today,
about 2016? Is that the desperation that we're at right now?
Are you concerned that the case that we saw today, that it is maybe just the beginning, that other criminal action could be in the future?
No, I think you're concerned that he's going to win, which is why you're bringing up 2016 things, because you have nothing to bring up. That's what I think you're concerned. And you should be concerned. He's leading in the polls.
Okay.
Well, apparently that's all that Alina Habba cares about, one of Trump's attorneys. Now that that jury has found him liable for that sexual assault with E. Jean Carroll. It's not looking too good. And I think it's a pretty straightforward question. How about these other women that have alleged similar things from one former president? Alina wasn't very jazzed about answering that question. So much so she continued interrupting and trying to disrupt this interview. I have a little bit of advice for Alina. Say, we're not interested in coming on. Instead, she looked like this. Watch more.
Okay. I'm a journalist. I am not concerned about anything. I'm asking you, as one of his attorneys, about things that are out there.
Okay.
And in addition to what you
Since
are here to talk.
2016, is that what we're talking about?
Great.
I'm talking about
2016.
Give me a year. These 15 women. Are we talking about 2016 when he was running and almost won and then did win?
It is not relevant what you're talking about.
It is
about
relevant.
The dates. No, it's not.
You just asked me about 15 women. I don't have 15 women that have come forth with a claim.
Okay.
Where are they? I don't have them.
I didn't say that they came. I didn't say that they came forward with a claim. I said that they have made public statements. I said they have made public statements, and my question was, are you concerned about this?
You have nothing for 2024.
Thank you. Thank you for your time. I very much appreciate it. And I hope to talk soon because there's a lot more to discuss as you go on with your appeal.
I'm sure there will when he wins.
And
Thank you.
Not sure if she realizes this, but this approach, this attitude, this anger doesn't really make him look all that good, or honestly her either. So the question kept going on. Is this 2016, 2016? Is it 2016, 2016, 2016? But we do know that they'll bring up, I mean, at a moment's notice, Bill Clinton, who back in the 90s had that scandal going on, but it wasn't even like this to the degree of this type of thing. But you know, it's all about 2020 and 2024, and make sure we talk only about that because that doesn't affect anyone else at all. So again, since we're talking about years past, even the statute of limitations question that was then also asked of Alina I mean, since she's bringing up years and how far things are back, let's see if she has any explanations for that aspect. Let's watch.
Is this the kind of law that you think should be changed, separate from this case, for women to have more time to process things that happen to them, assaults?
No, because it's indefensible. You know, there are things called justice, and people have the right to go to courts and go to prisons and go to police officers and say, I was raped, I was assaulted. That is your right, and you should take that right if you were assaulted, if you were raped. But what you are not allowed to do is say, I don't have a year, I don't have a date, I'm not sure if it happened, I'm not sure when it happened. And guess what? I was in Bergdorf Goodman, but he lived across the street and nobody saw it. She didn't like him as a candidate. And now she's gonna say it again when in 2024 he's the leading candidate. You're not allowed to do that. That is un-American. So no, this isn't about rape victims, this is about politics. And you know what? Shame on anybody. Because the rape victims, it's a sad thing.
The anger is just flowing, and she kind of can't find a way to answer the question, Adrian. So, okay, she's an attorney. She's upset about the results of this, and they're talking about the appeals that they're gonna go with. But then as we try to toss in how we care about women, but then we actually don't, and then if someone comes with an accusation, it's just purely political, and he's up in the polls, it kind of seems like she's peeling away at this fake cover of how much they actually care about women and their rights and how they were assaulted. I guess specifically only when it comes for her president.
You know what? I just really feel like that Dana Bash deserves an award for that interview because it was unhinged the whole entire time, from the attorney starting with the head cock to her being so unrationally combative. It almost made me wonder if she was trying to cause a scene and a chaos so people would talk more about that interview as opposed to the Trump verdict. And the thing is that no, we are not going to allow you and your little highlights in your hair distract us from the fact that the former president has been convicted of sexual abuse. The fact is we have a conviction against him, or excuse me, you have a finding liability, a verdict against him that tells you that the people know who he is. And the fact is that the GOP doesn't want to acknowledge fully who this man is, at least publicly, but we know, we the people know. And New Yorkers know, and people around the country know. So whether the GOP continues to move forward with him as a front runner of their party, it really seems to be an exercise in a lack of intelligence, much like his attorney did during that interview.
Well, that is the plan, but then also since she keeps going with the political route and saying these women are coming forward and who's accusing this and they're doing that, there's plenty of women, as we've heard many times and we've talked about, many women across the country who allege assault like this, and then they go and talk to the police. As she said, everyone has the right to talk to police and see police and report all these crimes and things that has happened to them. What happens though, Alina, after this happens? How about we look into one of these specific issues of going to the authorities and what those authorities did. Down in Florida, this is new news. Florida detective has been arrested because he was accused of falsifying sex crimes cases. He was doing this for 21 years. He's a detective and he's with South Florida Sheriff's Agency. And he was accused of falsifying this information and closing out sex crimes cases without a thorough investigation. So as he's done this over and over again, and when people go to authorities to report some of these things, the authorities have to give a damn. They have to take in the information. They have to maybe assess these rape kits many times, which are untested, unfounded, thrown in the garbage, tossed to the side because our authorities tend to not care. Now, then it leads to then people going, well, look at these false accusations people keep coming up with. Women are just throwing this around just because it's political. You keep talking about how things are political because you're in the political realm. What's actually happening is I looked it up even further, Adrian. There's 6 figures worth of untested rape kits in our country, backlogged, tossed to the side, unfunded. Who funds these things? Politicians who put money and allocate money in different places to go to things like protecting our society. So when they don't, is it political then too?
Yeah, you have to wonder who is actually focusing on the politics as opposed to the victim. Because when people come forward and say that they're sexually assaulted, that is an act of absolute and total courage, because you know that the system is structured such that you cannot win, that you have investigators who do not investigate. You have individuals who take rape kits that all of a sudden get thrown out. The system has always been stacked against individuals who are victims of sexual violence. And as a result of that, it has deterred individuals from coming forward, and it has enabled people who are sexual predators like Donald Trump to persist in their predation. And for that attorney to be there in the interview with Dana Bash, weaponizing the deficiencies in our system and saying because these women are finally coming forward and having the courage to speak out about what had happened to them, that they're making a political attack on the president as opposed to speaking their truth, which was silenced for years because of the systemic failures that are in place to continue to silence these victims. It's like, get out of here. That's utterly disgusting. But I'm sure that is a refrain we will continue to hear from so many people out there pushing and vying for Donald Trump.
It's all we've heard so far. And if you think they don't know the process and how it works and how, again, Donald Trump playing the role like any of these guys that are accused of things like this and go, she's not my type. That's part of this process too. So it's also one of the reasons why he lost this case, as he didn't take it seriously, didn't show up and just said, well, I'm just gonna say I don't know her and she's not my type. Sure thing, that's how these things work out. But I guess the privilege still flies around.